Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, Kelly Stapleton could face life in prison.
For what?
For the attempted murder of my daughter.
State police say the woman tried to kill the 14-year-old girl by placing 2 burning charcoal grills inside a vehicle.
What would possess a mother?
You attempted to end both of your lives, and you failed.
Epically failed.
To do the unthinkable.
Her aggressive episodes just never stopped.
Izzy hit her mom 50 to 100 times a day.
Now, in an exclusive jailhouse interview.
What were the last words you remember Izzy saying to you?
Inside the mind of a mother who attempted murder-suicide.
The car is filling up with carbon monoxide. Did you ever think, what the hell am I doing?
We were going to go to heaven together.
Do you wish you had succeeded? I'm here in Beulah, Michigan, standing in front of the Benzie County Sheriff's Office, also known as the county jail. Inside, behind bars, sits Kelly Stapleton, the mother of a severely violent and autistic child who felt the only answer to her despair was to kill herself and her daughter.
A Benzie County woman is facing attempted murder charges for trying to kill herself and her 14-year-old daughter. Kelly Stapleton and her daughter Isabel Stapleton were found inside of a van on Tuesday night and unconscious from carbon monoxide poisoning. State police say the 45-year-old Alberta woman tried to kill the 14-year-old girl by placing 2 burning portable charcoal grills inside a vehicle with the doors and windows closed. Police say that they believe Kelly had somehow convinced her daughter to get inside of the vehicle.
There was no indication that the daughter was bound or restrained.
All of this unfolding just days after Izzy returned from an autism treatment center. Izzy was put in a medically induced coma. Police say it is possible that Izzy could have permanent brain damage.
Kelly Stapleton of Benzie County pleaded guilty to first-degree child abuse.
Today's guilty plea means all other charges, including attempted murder, will be dropped. Now a judge must decide her fate. Kelly Stapleton could spend life in prison or get off with time served.
In an exclusive interview, Kelly speaks out for the first time about what happened on that fateful day and what led up to it. What really happened to this adoring, devoted mother that made her think that murder-suicide was the only option left? Today, we'll find out the answer to those questions, and hopefully by the end, we will have a better understanding of how a mother, a loving mother, could just snap. Kelly, we're in the county jail right now.
Yes, sir.
Did you attempt to kill your daughter?
I would say no. On September 3rd, we were going to go to heaven together. It wasn't the end, it was the beginning.
How did you come to that decision?
Isabel, in her aggression, oftentimes targets her sister. And I could not keep Ainsley safe anymore. I just looked at one daughter and looked at the other one, and I just made a decision that Ainsley's just never going to get hit again. This little girl deserves to grow up free of this violence from her sister. I knew I would keep Ainsley safe by leaving with Isabel. When she got up that morning, I said, we're gonna go camping, Izzy, you and I. And we're gonna make s'mores. And we're gonna cuddle.
So you get her in your car and you drive out to a very remote place where you won't be found. What did you have?
I had 2 grills. And when she was done eating, there's a bed in the back of this van, and we laid down together, and I closed the doors of the van with the grills inside. I just looked at her, and I said, I love you, Izzy. And I'll see you on the other side in just a little bit. And we went to sleep.
I want to take you back to how this all started. A big issue here that built up to this moment is that Izzy is amazingly violent. She attacks people. She was diagnosed with autism at 2.
She was about 18 months old, and we first started getting an inkling that we were dealing with autism. We started a home program. We really maximized early intervention. And I remember right before she turned 2, I had this conversation, and I said, well, at least she's not violent. And honestly, the next day, she hit.
And of course, the bigger and stronger she got, the worse it was.
We never got on top of the behavior. Her aggressive episodes just never stopped.
I have some pictures here. This is you with a black eye. How would something like this happen?
She doesn't tolerate being told no.
She could get really out of control instantaneously, right?
Right.
And we have an example here.
Billy's upset.
She doesn't do that on purpose. She's so trapped in this aggression. She's just a little girl. She doesn't want to hurt her mom. She doesn't want to hurt her sister.
Now, there was one time your husband, Matt, found you unconscious in the car.
Yes. Izzy became very heightened when we were driving, and I tried to get home, and we were close, but she was pulling my hair, she was pulling on the steering wheel, and it just was not safe. It's a pretty busy road, and so I pulled over and called Matt.
But in the meantime, she knocked you out.
She did.
How many times were you knocked out?
Twice.
Just completely unconscious?
Yes.
Here is a picture in the hospital, actually. What has happened here?
She got aggressive with me. I did not have my phone in my pocket, so I couldn't call Matt for help. Ainsley was home, and she heard what was happening, and she called her dad, but by the time he got home, I was unconscious.
You were completely unconscious?
Yes.
Would she stop once you were knocked out, or would she continue to hit you?
Matt told me she was still standing over me when he showed up, so I think she continued to hit.
You started a blog called The Status Woe. In November of 2012, you wrote, "I've been bruised from head to toe. I wear a DNR, do not resuscitate bracelet. I would hate to have to die like that twice." So you're saying if she beats you to death, if she knocks you unconscious, if you stop breathing, you literally wear a do not resuscitate bracelet?
Yes, sir. I didn't want some well-meaning first responder to work valiantly to bring me back, only to have this happen again. One day I wore a counter on my pocket, and I kept track of all of the aggressive episodes for that day. I did a little math. She had an aggressive episode, an average of every 6 minutes.
December 17th, you said her aggression continues to escalate. February 5th of 2013, "I'm so damn mad at watching my husband, a good man, work hard and never get ahead. He can't keep his family safe, and he can't fix his broken daughter." Were you starting to lose hope?
Yes.
You say on that same day, "We love our disabled daughter very much, but you should know that living with her is beyond horrific. Screaming tantrums, property destruction, hitting, biting, pulling hair, and kicking." You say, "She is loud and she is scary." Imagine the worst tantrum you've seen from a toddler. Now picture that with a teenager the size of an adult. That is what it looks like for us every day. Did you feel like, although she wouldn't intend to, Did you feel like she would eventually seriously injure or kill you or Ainsley?
Coming up.
I understand that she was in a coma for 3 days. Tell me about this.
I haven't seen that before.
We now return to our exclusive interview with the mother who attempted to kill herself and her autistic daughter.
I have no reason to think I'm going to survive this.
Kelly Stapleton is in the fight of her life, trying to save her daughter from self-destruction and from killing her. Izzy is dangerous. The Stapletons tried everything from medication to pediatric psychiatry.
We asked for help for a long time, and we were told ridiculous things like remodel your garage and put her in the garage, put her in foster care.
Until finally in January, the family found the Great Lakes Center for Autism Treatment and Research in Portage, a residential facility for children with extreme behavioral problems, willing to take Izzy in.
She might have a couple days where she's fine, and when she does have an episode, it's typically going to be a big one.
Did you feel like Izzy would eventually seriously injure or kill you or Ainsley?
Autism became a deadly condition in our house.
She entered an 8-month treatment program but stayed for 7 months. Why?
The insurance company stopped paying.
We have a video and we see that she just jumps up and attacks. This was your life. Here are some pictures of wounds. They look like bite wounds, striking wounds. Tell me about these.
That was at the treatment center, and that was one of the specialists that work with Izzy. Isabel had come home. She was on a behavior plan, and we felt like we were on top of this aggression.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Good job, Isabel.
Izzy wasn't home very long, and we saw the aggression again. She was going to go to the school where her dad is the principal, with her typically developing peers. And I had worked pretty closely with the behaviorist about what school could look like. I really think we came up with a really good plan that would be safe, and she would be able to benefit from a free and appropriate education. We had so much hope.
You write of having a heated argument with the teacher and of a meeting the next day at which you learned that Izzy was not going to be allowed to go to the school there. I would like to read what you wrote. You say, so less than a week before school is to start, she is uninvited. I am devastated. My husband is gutted. And then you write, if you work with families, please try to minimize the soul-shattering disappointments you hand out. There are ways to say no without being inhumane. Is all of this what pushed you over the edge?
The results of all of those things left me completely devoid of hope that I would ever be able to free her from her aggression. I was the kind of person who woke up in a good mood every day and was overly optimistic. I had no more ideas. I had no more tools in my toolbox. And I could not keep her sister, Ainsley, safe anymore. I just looked at one daughter and looked at the other one, and I just made a decision that Ainsley's just never going to get hit again. Izzy is too big, and it was never okay that she got hit in the first place. This little girl deserves to grow up free of this violence from her sister. So I knew I would keep Ainsley safe by leaving with Isabel.
And so you decided what?
coming up.
How did you decide that you were going to do it with carbon monoxide? Take me through that moment when you realized, okay, this is it.
And later.
You know, being here in jail, you are away from all of that turmoil. Has there been any guilty pleasure of relief at not having to deal with it?
We now return to our exclusive interview with the mother who attempted to kill herself and her autistic daughter.
Like any child, her face looks so innocent and is so innocent. But this innocent face belongs to a child with autism. Isabel was very young when she started having difficulty speaking, controlling her impulses, and interacting with people. Her problem behavior turned out to be aggression. And as she got older, the aggression got worse.
I started having significant injuries.
Black eyes, sprained fingers, a mother's nightmare. Her own daughter attacking her. As the injuries pile on, Kelly fears not for herself, but for her daughter.
When she got up that morning, on September 3rd, I said, we're gonna go camping, Izzy, you and I, and we're gonna make s'mores, and we're gonna cuddle. And she was happy.
Who all lived in your house at this point?
My husband, my son, Isabel, and Ainsley.
And when you left that day, you believed in your heart it was the last time you were going to see any of them.
Yes.
Did you say any special goodbye to your son?
I just told my son how proud I was of him. I just said, be a good man, be a man for others. I love you.
What did you say to Ainsley?
I was teasing her a little bit because it was her first day of junior high, and I said, I want to come in and take pictures of you sitting in class. She said, Mom, absolutely not. So I told her how much I loved her, and I just told her how important it was to love. That's the most important thing in the world, just to love.
Same thing to your husband?
Just made sure he knew that I loved him very much, and just told him what a good husband and father he is.
So you knew in your heart, you fully believed you were never going to see them again.
That's right.
So that was goodbye.
It was.
And Izzy, of course, didn't know, so she had no special goodbyes, right?
That's right.
Because she didn't know what was ahead. So you get her in your car and you drive out to a very remote place where you won't be found. And you rolled the windows up.
Yes.
And what did you have?
I had 2 grills.
How did you decide that you were going to do it with carbon monoxide?
I wanted to make the environment rich for Jesus to just come in, for us to just be able to transition to heaven together peacefully. And we got to this very beautiful spot, and it was a September morning. It was crisp, it was beautiful, and she was beautiful. And we made s'mores. I gave her one, and she wanted another one. I said, you bet. I had a whole lunch packed for her, so there were all sorts of snacks and juice. And when she was done eating, there's a bed in the back of this van, and we laid down together, and I closed the doors of the van with the grills inside.
Take me through that moment when you realized, okay, this is it.
I just looked at her and I said, I love you, Izzy. And I was so happy to know that within the hour we would be in heaven. I couldn't wait. She likes to talk about our pets. Sometimes we make lists of all of our animals that live in heaven. And so when we were laying there, we were talking about our animals, and we would get to see them very soon.
God bless Tucker, Vader, Elvis, Stardust.
And we went to sleep, nose to nose.
You're laying there with her nose to nose, and you're talking about pets, and you're talking about heaven. Who went to sleep first? Was it you, or was it Izzy?
We really went to sleep about the same time.
And the next thing you know is what?
She got up from the bed and went to the front of the van and sat down, and that woke me up. So I followed her and asked her, "What are you doing, Izzy?" And she was snoring, so she was still asleep. And I thought about waking her up to bring her back to the bed, but she was sleeping. And I thought, well, I must hurry and go back to sleep so I can catch up with her.
Did you go back and lay down?
I did.
So she was in the front seat and you were on the mattress. Were you convinced at that time that you were both going to die?
We were going to heaven.
You didn't think about it as death?
I believed that Jesus would come and take us.
Were you sad or were you glad?
I think I was relieved that it was over. She's just a little girl. She doesn't want to hurt her mom. She doesn't want to hurt her sister.
What were the last words you remember Izzy saying to you?
I love you, Mommy.
Did you have any doubt at that moment? The two of you are in the back of that van. You're on the mattress. The grills are lit. They're burning. The car is filling up with carbon monoxide. Did you ever think, what the hell am I doing?
We now return to our exclusive interview with the mother who attempted to kill herself and her autistic daughter.
Did you have any doubt at that moment? The two of you are in the back of that van. You're on the mattress. The grills are lit. They're burning. The car is filling up with carbon monoxide. Did you ever think, what the hell am I doing?
I had no doubt we were going to open our eyes and be in paradise. And we could run and play, and I could ask her what she wants to be when she grows up, which I know is ironic. I couldn't wait to talk to her.
But did it occur to you that she wasn't going to grow up, that it ended that day, that you took her to the woods to end her life that day? There was no growing up. There was no marriage. There was no career. It was over that day. Because that's not ironic, it's irrational. You're saying you wanted to have those discussions with her, but yet you made the conscious choice to end her life and yours.
But I believe in heaven. I believe that there was paradise there. I don't know what it looks like, but I could find out what she wanted to be when she grew up. And if she wanted to be a veterinarian, maybe in heaven she can be a veterinarian.
Now, you woke up in the hospital, or did you wake up at the scene?
I remember an ambulance ride.
Did you know whether Izzy was alive or not?
I remember at the hospital somebody saying, "We're taking very good care of Izzy."
Now, I understand that she was in a coma for 3 days. And was that a medically induced coma, or was that a coma from the toxins?
I do not know.
Tell me about this.
I haven't seen that before. It says it all, doesn't it?
What does it say?
Do you believe in miracles? I do. I do too.
How do you feel when you look at that?
I feel like I should be put in prison for a very long time.
When you were in the hospital, did your husband come to see you?
I do not know.
When was your first conversation with him after this took place?
I believe it was not until Christmas morning.
Oh, so it was several months?
Yes.
What did he say?
I know this must sound awful, but I don't remember what we said in the conversation.
Was he upset with you?
I'm sure he was. I'm sure it was very superficial. It was the first time we'd had any contact. I'm sure it was very, hi, how are you? How are the kids?
Does it feel like you were trying to murder your daughter?
It does not.
Was this an evil act on your part?
It was not.
Misguided, but not evil.
We asked for help. It never had to get this bad. And there was just roadblock after roadblock. I lost hope. And she needed to be released from this.
Were you also trying to set you free, Ainsley free, everybody free?
I knew that this would be a very sad thing for my son and my other daughter and my husband, but they would move on. Ainsley would not get hit on her graduation day. She would not get hit on her wedding day. Matt, who is the hardest working man I know, such a good man, could start saving for retirement, could do things with his son, he could do things with his daughter. They could recoup a little bit of a life.
But you're not advocating that every parent out there with an out-of-control teenager, they knock holes in the wall, they do drugs, they scream and fight. You're not advocating that all of those parents to kill their children.
I am not.
How is that different? You're saying we're out of control, we lost hope, we had no resources, and for all these parents out there that are at their wits' end, an option is to just set everybody free. Does that sound reasonable?
It does not. And I would tell them, just, you must find hope. Hold on to it. And although you can't imagine what help is going to look like, that you must wake up every morning and have hope that things will get better.
Now, you've had no contact with Izzy.
I have not.
So you haven't talked to her now in almost a year?
That's right.
Your last conversation with her was lying on that mattress. Do you want to see her?
I do.
Have you missed her this year?
I have.
You know, being here in jail all of this time, you are away from all of that turmoil. You are away from that helpless, hopeless feeling. Has there been any guilty pleasure of relief at not having to deal with it? Will this ever happen again? And later, do you wish you had succeeded?
We now return to our exclusive interview with the mother who attempted to kill herself and her autistic daughter.
Kelly Stapleton, who you see right here at the top, just 2.5 weeks ago, she tried to kill her daughter and kill herself. Kelly's husband, Matt, says their 14-year-old daughter, Izzy, hit her mom 50 to 100 times a day. Matt told me what his wife did was not the answer, but they needed help that just wasn't there. And his family now is ripped apart.
Kelly's struggle is that there isn't help out there. Everything has a roadblock. And the tragedy that has occurred, the attempt on Izzy's life and her own, you know, she crossed that line, and nobody's ever going to condone that. And my family will never be the same.
And this is what really tugged at my heart. When Izzy woke up from her coma, the first person she asked for was her mom.
You know, being here in jail all of this time, you are away from all of that turmoil. You are away from that helpless, hopeless feeling. Has there been any guilty pleasure of relief at not having to deal with it?
The jail of Benzie County has been a much kinder warden than the jail of autism has been.
Have others in your situation reached out to you?
They have. Many have.
What have they said?
They understand. Some of them say, I'm not going to judge you. We're just praying for you. We're praying for your daughter. We're praying for your family.
Has anyone said they have considered the same thing that you did?
Yes. Yes.
Did you respond to them? What did you say?
I said, you're not alone. You're not alone. Hold on to hope.
Will this ever happen again?
I think it's very unlikely.
Do you dream of that?
I do not allow myself to dream of that.
How about this?
I've got these memories, and they are enough.
Have you talked to your other children?
I have.
They've been to see you?
They have not.
How did you talk to them?
On the phone.
Were they happy to hear from you, or were they upset with you?
They were happy to hear from me.
Is Ainsley mad at you that you tried to kill yourself?
I haven't asked her that. I'm sure there's some of that, but I think she's really glad I'm alive.
Was she upset that you tried to kill her sister?
I'm sure she probably is, but I think she's glad that Izzy's alive too.
And what about your son?
I'm sure he feels the same way.
What did he say when you called him?
Just, I love you, Mom.
Do you think they understand? Not that they endorse it, but do you think they understand where you were at the time?
I do think they do.
She did have good times.
Yes. Yeah, she did.
She had a life.
Yes.
She had a family.
Yes.
But you're still very much afraid for her, and you're still very much afraid for Ainsley.
The events that caused September 3rd to happen are still the same.
But you know in your heart that this was not an evil motive. I'm not saying that makes it okay, but I'm saying you say you feel in your heart that you didn't have an evil motive.
That's right.
Was this a bad choice?
Yes.
Why?
Because she has a journey, and it wasn't my right to take her from it.
But do you wish you had succeeded?
We now return to our exclusive interview with the mother who attempted to kill herself and her autistic daughter.
Do you wish you had succeeded?
I believe, obviously, in heaven. I will always look forward to being there. But I'm glad we survived. I'm glad she survived.
So you're not sorry that it didn't work. You're okay with the fact that it didn't work, that the both of you woke up.
I'm glad we're here.
You attempted to end both of your lives, and you failed.
Epically failed.
And you're glad you failed.
I'm very glad she survived. I am very glad she survived.
You're familiar with the term mercy killing.
I am.
Is that what was going on with you that day?
It was not.
How is it different? You said, I couldn't protect Ainsley. I couldn't protect Izzy. I couldn't control her myself. I was afraid of what was going to happen to her, that she was going to have a horrible life and disaster.
Izzy and I were going together. We were just moving to a different zip code. We were moving to a better neighborhood.
Will that sound crazy to people?
It might.
Given the opportunity, would you make another attempt?
No. No, I would not.
But you say it wasn't killing, it was just moving to a better existence on another plane.
My perspective is different today.
How so?
She has so much to offer this planet. this place.
Well, how do you see that now, but you didn't see it a year ago?
Being in the midst of it versus being away from it.
Did you want to hurt your daughter, or did you want to help her?
I wanted to help her. There was no way to fix it. We'd been down every avenue for help. We were just going to transcend this whole problem.
It was an escape plan.
It was an escape plan.
Will you see her again?
I don't know. I hope so.
Do you need help to sort all of this out in your mind? Do you need help to gain clarity?
I think that I've had a pretty normal reaction to a really horrifically abnormal situation. I do.
So you think attempting to end your life and that of your daughter was a normal reaction to a horrific situation?
I think so.
Well, Matt is now taking care of the family.
Yes, he is.
He's got the 3 children there. Horrific situation. If he becomes overwhelmed, does it make sense for him to end it all?
It does not.
Would you want that to happen? If he just says, look, it's not getting any better, Ainsley can't escape, I can't protect either one of them from her?
No, I would not. I would not want that to happen to him. No, not at all.
But you said it was a normal reaction to a horrific situation, then why is it not normal for him to do it?
He's stronger than I am.
You were weak.
Yes.
He has filed for divorce, correct?
Yes, he did.
Should he divorce you?
I think so. I think
Why?
he did the right thing.
Why?
I think that he has to take care of the kids and himself. And I think it was probably good to distance himself from me.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like it was an honor to be his wife for 18 years.
We've run out of time for today, but tune in tomorrow for more of my exclusive interview with Kelly Stapleton from Behind Bars. Find out what she would say to Izzy if she is ever allowed to speak to her again. And would Kelly ever want to care for her daughter if she is given a second chance? Plus, imagine driving yourself and your child to the railroad tracks and waiting for a train to hit and kill you. Well, that's exactly what one mother felt was her only option for her and her severely autistic son. Here are some of the highlights from tomorrow's show. If by some miraculous twist of fate you could walk out of here today and go home and take up managing her again, are you equal to that? Do you want Izzy's forgiveness?
I would beg her forgiveness.
If you were to look Izzy in the eye right now, what would you say to her?
He pushed me down the flight of stairs once. I would get bloody lips, broken bones.
The truth is, you have seriously contemplated killing yourself and your son.
Yes.
I want to thank Kelly Stapleton for sitting down with me and telling her side of the story. I also want to thank the Benzie County Sheriff's Department, especially Lieutenant Conquest and his staff, for accommodating this interview for us today. If you are a parent who's pushed to your limits, please, please continue to ask for help. For more information on today's show, go to drphil.com. We'll see you next time.